I always believed my house was safe. It was small, quiet, predictable. Every sound had an explanation. Every shadow had a source. Every creak belonged to the building settling. Until the night I heard someone walking upstairs. The problem was, I live alone. I froze in my bed. Not because I was scared, but because the footsteps were slow, careful, intentional. They weren't rushing. They weren't stumbling. They weren't confused. They were patient. The floor above me creaked once, then twice, then closer to the stairs. I held my breath. The footsteps stopped right above my bedroom, and then I heard something that still makes my skin crawl. Someone whispered my name, not loudly, not angrily, but softly, as if they were standing right outside my door, testing if I was awake. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I didn't breathe. The whisper came again, closer this time, longer, dragging the sound of my name like it enjoyed saying it. I waited for the door to open. It didn't. Instead, the footsteps walked away, back toward the hallway, then toward the stairs, then downstairs. I waited for the front door, but I never heard it open. I stayed awake until morning. When the sun finally filled my room, I forced myself to check the house. Every door was locked. Every window was closed. Nothing was broken. Nothing was missing. I told myself it was a dream until the next night. This time, the footsteps started in my room, right beside my bed. I felt the mattress sink, like someone had sat down. Slowly, carefully, I could feel the weight, but I couldn't see anything. I stared at the empty space beside me, and I heard breathing, not from the room, from inside my head, like the sound was coming from behind my eyes. I shut them tightly and whispered, "Go away." The breathing stopped. The mattress lifted, and the footsteps walked back toward the door. This time, the door opened, but the hallway was empty. No shadows, no movement, no sound. Just silence. I didn't sleep for 2 days. On the third night, I set up my phone to record. I placed it on my desk, pointed at my bed, and pressed record. I lay down and waited. Nothing happened for hours. Then the temperature dropped. My breath became visible, and the camera began to shake. Slowly, like something invisible was touching it. Then the whisper returned, not from the room, not from the hallway, but from the phone. It whispered my name, in my own voice. I grabbed the phone and turned on the screen. The recording was still running, but I wasn't alone in the frame. There was something standing at the foot of my bed, tall, thin, bent in a way no human could stand. Its face was blurred, like it didn't want to be seen, but its eyes were clear, and they were looking directly at me. I dropped the phone. The screen cracked. The image disappeared, and the room became warm again. The next morning, every mirror in my house was turned toward the wall. I don't remember doing that, but they were all facing away. I tried to turn one back. My reflection was delayed, not by much, but enough to notice. I raised my hand. My reflection raised it later. I smiled. My reflection didn't. That was when I understood. It wasn't visiting me. It wasn't watching me. It was learning me. I covered the mirrors. I locked my doors. I slept with the lights on. But it didn't matter, because Now, sometimes, when I close my eyes, I can still feel someone sitting beside me, breathing, waiting, learning, and I know one night it won't leave because it won't need to. It will already be me. I tried to convince myself it was over, that whatever had visited me had left. But the silence in my house felt different now, heavier, like something had settled inside it. I stopped sleeping in my bedroom. I moved to the couch, kept the lights on, kept the TV playing quietly just to remind myself that reality still existed. But even with noise, I could still feel it, watching. One night, I felt a hand on my shoulder, not cold, not warm, just wrong, like it didn't understand temperature. I didn't open my eyes. I already knew what I would see. Nothing. But the pressure stayed. Then slowly, it leaned closer and whispered. I almost fit now. My body refused to move. I felt tears running down my face, not from fear, from realization. It wasn't copying me anymore. It was replacing me. The next morning, my phone rang. It was my mother. She said, "You sounded strange last night." I asked her what she meant. She said, "You called me," and stayed silent. And I could hear you breathing, but it didn't sound like you. I hung up. My phone history showed no call, but my voice was in her voicemail. I played it and heard myself breathing, slow, careful, enjoying the sound. I smashed the phone against the wall. That night, I locked myself in the bathroom. No mirrors, no windows, just a small light. And the door. I sat on the floor, holding my knees, trying not to think, trying not to remember my own face. Then I heard the lock move, not turning, learning, click by click, testing, copying. I screamed for it to stop. The lock stopped. Then I heard myself whisper from the other side. I'm already inside. I don't remember passing out, but when I woke up, I was in my bed. The mirrors were uncovered. The house looked normal, and my reflection smiled perfectly. At the same time I did. For the first time, there was no delay. I still live here. I still go outside. I still talk to people. No one notices anything wrong. But sometimes, when I look at my hands, they don't feel like mine. And sometimes, when I hear my own voice, it sounds too calm, too confident, too complete. If you ever feel like you don't fully recognize yourself, don't panic. It might already be too late, because some things don't haunt houses. They haunt identities. And once they learn you, they don't leave. They stay as you